Uh, can you please confirm my audio visuals,
Uh,
Maran?
Yes, sir. You are perfectly audible and you are visible.
Okay, great. Thank you. Just give me a moment. Okay, great. Fantastic. Very good morning. सभी को मेरा नमस्कार. Happy to be part of this another fantastic Sunday morning Gupshups that we have been doing for I think few months in the past. So just to set the context today, and also I welcome all the viewers on the YouTube. नमस्कार सभी को मेरा जो भी हमको YouTube में देख रहे हैं. Since this is a very community based initiative, so for the larger interest, we kind of live stream this on the YouTube, and only people part of our community are invited into the Zoom room, so that there can be meaningful conversations and there can be a lot of value that we can give to everyone in the Zoom room. So with that context, this is an open learning space. We call it Gupshup. बहुत informal है ये. Anybody can have any kind of conversations, questions, discussions, and this is how we do this informal learning space. Happy to have you, Dr. Nihar Deka. Wonderful to see you. Fantastic morning. He's joining in from Guwahati. So, being part of this ecosystem for long, RespiRATe Healthcare, I remember for a few years that they have been part of our ecosystem, doing fantastic job in the Northeast, in the Guwahati. He himself is a very well-known the doctor in the Northeast region. Welcome, Nihar Deka ji. आपका
Thank
स्वागत
you,
है.
sir. Thank you, sir. Good morning to you, sir. I'm
Good
very much
morning. Yeah.
privileged to be invited here.
Thank you. I also have one of my old ecosystem founder from our community, Dr. Vishesh Kasaliwal. He's based out of Indore, is what I remember last. So Medyseva has been doing fantastic work. Is very, very well known when it comes to the right kind of application in terms of telemedicine. So I'm happy to have you, Vishesh. It's another opportunity for us to meet, explore, and I'm sure with our focus increasing on healthcare, I'm sure we'll have a lot of reasons to meet in future as well. So welcome to you, Vishesh. Namaskar ji aapko bhi.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure to meet you again, and it is always great to talk to you. So thank you very much again for having me here.
Yeah, thank you both my co-host, and I also welcome. Uh, I also thank my team Simran Padmanabh who have been coordinating and organizing this entire series of Gupshup. Thank you for being here and your all efforts. Also, welcome Ketan, Nakshatra, Jairam, Satakshi, who is also our community manager at Lemon Ecosystem. Welcome, Satakshi. I also welcome team from Mera Sathi, Dr. Sahu, and everybody else who is there uh, watching us this live Gupshup session. So, without taking much time, so we'll directly jump into the context today. So, this is one specific Gupshup which we are focusing upon in terms of the healthcare. So that's I think is going to be the focus of discussion, where we have a lot of advancements happening in the. Just a sec. There is some kind of a glitch here. Yeah, I hope I'm audible very clearly.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sure. Fantastic. So I think I'll just set the context here that this is healthcare specific conversation that we'll be doing, and there's a lot of emerging things happening in the healthcare when you talk about the diagnostics, when you talk about monitoring, therapies, medical devices is really coming up in a big way, where a lot of advancements in the diagnostic machines, bioinstrumentation, and I think all that is really revolutionizing the way we have been looking at healthcare. With the latest edition of AI, I think this is going to be a game changer for the healthcare field also, where a lot of deep technology and deep learning based innovations are going to emerge out of the application of AI when it comes to the healthcare sector. Apart from that, I think biotechnology is one area where I witnessed recently a lot of things happening where uh, I was amazed to witness in last 2 years the kind of impact that biotechnology can have in our life. So I think the kind of new invention which are happening, the kind of new formulation which people are looking at, the kind of alternatives which people are trying to come up with through biotechnological work. That's also, I think, something amazing that I've been witnessing in the recent past. And I think being at Lemon Idea, I think I always feel blessed when I meet people like you all who come in from different sectors, bring that passion, that energy, that zeal to solve a specific problem. And when I learn from them, I think it's absolutely fantastic. I feel so happy that I've been able to pick up small little threads on various sectors. Though I'm not an expert on the healthcare, I'm not an expert on any of the specific domains. But yes, I think my learnings are primarily derived from the startup founders which I keep meeting, and that's my source of energy to keep moving on this stupid idea that I call lemon ideas. So yes, I think mental health has been another area where I see a great potential in the specifically in the Indian context, where I think still a lot of things to be done in the mental health, where still it's a taboo. The way people approach doctors, I don't think people are still open to approach mental health professionals. So I think there is a great scope that I see in the mental health sector. In telemedicine law that was enacted in India a few years back has absolutely changed the game for us in terms of how a doctor sitting in remote areas can still attend to patients. So that's another major thing which I'm sure has opened up a lot of opportunity. And Medyseva is uh, one of those visionary startups which has really picked up this thread and have really uh, um, catapulted into a big impact zone for their startup. So I think if I have to look at electronic records, IoT, I think all this means a lot when it comes to individual healthcare. And personally, when I look at the lifestyle based issues are going to be on the rise. So in a way, that's bad for us as a society, but from a other standpoint, if that is the reality, that's an opportunity for healthcare professionals also. So lifestyle issues, maybe it's obesity or diabetes or whatever you call it. I think that's another big area where I can definitely see a lot of opportunities. And another few things recently, I've been meeting founders who are talking about medical tourism, elderly care. I think these are another area where I think there is some kind of opportunity that I see. Recently, I was talking to some startup founder who is specifically working on a problem of ambulance availability. So the problem is small, but I think the kind of impact which it can bring is fantastic. So more the problems, more the avenues for stupid people like you and me to address, to solve them. And I think that's what I look at healthcare as a very, very emerging area. It's a very promising field, and it's also an very noble profession to be in because it talks about the welfare of people. It's talked about the healthcare of people. It's talked about how can we support people in living healthier, happier, and joyful. So I think with this, I would want more room to be available for my co-host who represent the medical field. Unlike like me, I'm just a dumb. I'm a layman when it comes to the healthcare. Believe me, yesterday I was in a one conversation where there was a cardiology expert and there was a startup who is trying to build some kind of patches and a revolutionary work they are trying to bring. And the whole 1 hour conversation, I was just thinking, oh my God, probably 80% things would have gone over my head, but the essence I could really appreciate was there is so much depthness there when we approach doctors and when they talk to us, we just see them as just another professional, but the kind of depthness, the kind of expertise which they need, I think I was amazed to see yesterday the kind of analysis they were doing in terms of the cardiographs, and I don't know what kind of words they were using, but I think my appreciation and my respect for medical professionals is increasing day by day. The more I'm talking to healthcare startup founders, So with this, I once again welcome you all, and uh, so we will probably split this conversation into two parts. First part, I would want my co-host to introduce themselves, maybe in couple of minutes if they can share about their work, and then we will pick up the kind of trends and the kind of emerging areas in the healthcare in terms of innovations, in terms of the impact of technology which we see, and then we'll take it forward. So it will be more of a conversation based, but I would want to give uh, uh, some space to my co-host to really introduce themselves and then set their perspective, and then we'll get into the more conversations and into a more of discussion oriented, where I would want everybody in the Zoom room to contribute as well. So first, I would want Dr. Vishesh from Medyseva to quickly talk about his perspective on this topic as well as about his own work. So over to you, Vishesh.
Hi guys, hi sir. Thank you so much again for having me here. So just to have a brief introduction about myself. So I'm Dr. Vishesh Kasaliwal. I've done my MBBS from Nagpur, so your own city. Then I did my MBA in hospital administration. Post I did my diploma in emergency medicine. Currently, I'm not a practicing clinician, but I am more into my entrepreneurial journey. I'm running this startup of my own, which is known as Medyseva. So we started as a rural telemedicine company. We still are working extensively in the rural area with different models where we provide the healthcare services to the people in the rural area through the doctors who are present in the cities. Along with it, we are working extensively in mental health vertical. So you rightly mentioned few things, and I feel like we are taking up an opportunity, and we are grasping and we are working onto it. So mental health is one vertical where we have started working extensively. Then another vertical is female health, and the third one is elderly care. So these are the three areas we felt that the healthcare professionals are needed a lot, and a lot many things could be done in this area. And that is why we have opted the path of telemedicine to provide the services to people through our the solution from Medyseva. So this was a brief about myself, sir, and I would be more than happy to have a lot of discussion on these things and the artificial intelligence and so many new aspects which are coming in the healthcare region. Over to Deka sir. You start with your conversation. You start with an introduction, then we can set up a thing, and then we can start the conversation.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Dr.
So
Vishesh.
Vishesh, Vishesh, just to, I think you have been very humble enough, but I would also want you to share about the kind of impact which you have already created in terms of your reach and what kind of work you have already been doing through Medyseva.
We have opened more than 250 Medyseva clinics, which are working in more than 10 states for now. We have given consultations through our application through our Medyseva clinics to more than 75,000 patients in last 2 years. We are working with multiple medical colleges for now. We are opening clinics for them so that we can increase their reach to multiple rural areas. We are working with multiple doctors directly, indirectly. On our portal, there are more than 2,500 doctors who are working directly with us. We are working with multiple colleges, universities, hostels, coaching institutes. We are giving services to adolescents. So more than 20,000 adolescent students are registered with us who are taking services from us. So this is the kind of impact we are trying to create through Medyseva. So our objective is to increase and go across the country to deep down the pockets where actual need is there. We really don't want to work with people who are already full with their healthcare facility, who have all the facilities available at their doorstep. We really don't want to work with them, but we really want to touch those people who are the people who actually need healthcare support. So that is the objective, and we are trying to get into that space. Yeah.
Thank you, डॉक्टर विशेष, थैंक यू. अच्छा लगा आपकी बात सुन के, आपसे मिलके भी बहुत अच्छा लगा, बहुत आनंद आया, पुरानी बातें मुझसे याद आ गई मेरे को, द काइंड ऑफ कन्वर्सेशन वी हैड इन द पास्ट. सो फैंटास्टिक, हैप्पी टू हैव यू हियर. So over to you, Dr. Nihar Deka. I was in Guwahati last year and I met him personally. We had some good chat. He was very kind enough to host a kind of community meetup at his clinic also. So thank you, Nihar, for all that help, support, and you continue to be one of our representatives in the Northeast region. So over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for the kind introduction. Sir, I could regret that I could not host you the party at the boat in Brahmaputra River. I think you had a river cruise in Brahmaputra, sir, after that.
No, I missed the river cruise, but I definitely visited the entire riverfront.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So, friends, let me introduce myself. I am Dr. Nihar Deka. I am the founder of a company called RespiRATe Healthcare. We deal particularly with the respiratory system, that is the people who have lung diseases. So we are introducing about my company. We are a integrated respiratory health. So we have clinics, lung clinics, specifically dealing with lung diseases. So right now we have 3 clinics running in Guwahati, Shillong, and other parts of the Northeast. Plus, we have a mobile app which is exclusively dedicated to people who have lung diseases. The main features of the app is that we have self-education of the patients, and we have some warning system so that people who are about to get serious, we give warning to those people so that they may seek early care in the vicinity of our hospitals. Thirdly, our USP of the device, we are also developing a respiratory device. So this device is basically detects the detects lung function of the patients along with other physiological parameter like pulse, oxygen saturation, and temperature. Also, we are thinking of adding a new parameter like transcutaneous carbon dioxide to a device. So we have nearly completed the device, and it's in right now we are ready for the clinical trials. And for as for myself, I have done my MBBS and also done my post-graduation in pediatrics. And then I have completed this PGDM in healthcare management. Before this starting this startup, I was working with a PSU company called Well India Limited, and I have worked there for around 12 years. And then I resigned from the job after the COVID, and they started this healthcare company. So that's
Yeah.
all for about myself. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Niharji. Wonderful. Happy to have you here. Wonderful
Thank
to
you, sir.
see. Wonderful to meet you again. I think you have been doing. You are among those passionate people who have kind of moved out of your so-called secured jobs and taken a plunge into entrepreneurship. So my love and my affection for such people is always very very high. So happy to have you here.
Thank you, sir. It
So I
has been
think let's jump into the conversation. So I think let's get into the conversation because one thing that I have realized recently while been I've started some work with some medical colleges and some medical students, and I think that's one thing which has actually surprised me to see that uh, 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 the entrepreneurial aspirations for doctors is still not that high. So somehow because of their intensive education, because of their intensive longer education and uh, uh, the thought of being a doctor is that definitely is definitely supreme, but any other thought of being apart from doctor, can I do something else? I think that's something which still I see. If I come across 10 entrepreneurs in healthcare, probably only 2 or 3 would be from the core healthcare field in terms of their education, and 6 to 7 people would be from engineering background or some other background who have found some problem, who have found some passion, and they have kind of ventured into the healthcare. So since you both of you are qualified doctors and now an entrepreneur, I think this is absolutely the right kind of a forum which I actually wanted to have to open up this conversation that what's your take on this thought of doctors becoming entrepreneurs? So one set of entrepreneurship is that conventional entrepreneurship of opening a hospital or a clinic. That obviously is a natural path, but I'm looking at beyond that. So a doctor aspiring to do something else, not just a regular hospital or a clinic which has been a traditional option for doctors. So what's your take? What's your own experience on this? And what kind of suggestion you would want to advise to aspiring medical doctors, or maybe Ayurvedic doctors, or maybe other healthcare professionals on that? So maybe Vishesh, you want to go first on this?
Yeah. So, I've been talking and meeting so many medical students lately because I'm working a lot with these guys. So one thing I realized that what you rightly said, it is totally instilled in their mind that they cannot do any other work other than seeing patients. So their mindset or their the way they are studying in the college, because medical education is very extensive. You have to work so hard, like 20 hours a day. You are there in the hospital, you are continuously doing some of the other work in the medical school. Either you are studying by yourself or you are seeing the patient. So it is very extensive, and they do not have that mindset during that time to understand what is happening in the world outside. So their total world is the medical school. So उनको उतना प्रोविजन ही नहीं मिल पाता है कि वो उसके बाहर एक दुनिया क्या चल रही है उसके बारे में अंडरस्टैंड कर पाए और देख पाए. So the maximum dunya what they are seeing right now is the Instagram and the Facebook dunya, which is bullshit. I'm sorry, but that is actually crap what they are seeing. So they really don't have that mindset, and उनका वो spectrum broaden ही नहीं हो पा रहा है to understand what is going in the world otherwise. So that is one reason what I felt that these people do not take up the thing that they can actually do something better or something else other than their clinical work. So whenever I am going and meeting people around, I've been always telling them that there is a lot of scope. Otherwise, the clinical practice, what you do, you continue your clinical practice. There is no harm in doing it. It is the world's best possible job, world's best possible thing what you can do. But along with it, you should get an opportunity, or you should actually search for opportunities where you can actually meet and greet people. Until the time you do not meet other people who are from other spectrum of society, you won't get an opportunity to understand what is there in the world happening. So that is one thing which is missing. That you would have always seen that doctors are always friends with only doctors. They don't have friends
Yes.
beyond the medical fraternity. So again, so they only talk about patients. They talk about what new cases are coming to the clinics, what new patient they have seen, or what is how you are building your hospital, what is NABH, what is NABL, what we can do to get JCI certification. So the conversation revolves around only healthcare. So that is one thing which is missing, and that should, so I had even word with few of the deans of medical colleges that if we could actually get some part of entrepreneurship or some kind of finance kind of thing into the medical school, which is very, very important for the doctors also to learn. Because I have personally seen, I'll give my own personal example that I was like really bad in my financial things, because मेरे लिए finance was only पैसा आया पैसा गया. But what is finance? That is not finance. That is my the house help also knows how to do that, and doctors also have the mindset of only doing that. So that of finance, that I personally feel that kind of financial literacy should be given to the doctors during their medical school days only. So these are few thoughts which I
Sure.
have seen. So yes, sir. So
Sure,
take
thank you, thank you, thank you, विशेष. Yeah, I think एक आपने बात बहुत अच्छी बोली कि डॉक्टर्स की दोस्ती नॉर्मली डॉक्टर से होती है, टू एट एक्सटेंड की मोस्ट ऑफ द डॉक्टर्स की हस्बैंड वाइफ भी डॉक्टर्स ही होते हैं.
exactly.
So I think that is very very relevant, and I can definitely relate to this कि वो एक जो लिमिटेड थॉट प्रोसेस का बहुत बड़ा कारण शायद ये है कि उनकी फैटर्निटी इज वेरी टाइटली लिंक, मतलब somehow वो डॉक्टर्स कम्युनिटी एक इतनी टाइटली इंटीग्रेटेड होती है. आई डोंट नो वो मिलके क्या क्या हाउ दे रियली probably मिलके रह के they have a lot of control over a lot of things, but then somehow yes they miss the outer the outer world, where then the बाहर के लोग जिनकी मेडिकल में अंडरस्टैंडिंग कम होती है, and then they have to really slog and put in that effort, but they eventually are able to do it. Because I'll just give you an example. Yesterday I was talking to one very very solid startup from Bangalore, which have really been able to produce a medical devices which can compete with the world best one. So अब वो that person has no healthcare background. So he was telling me one of the very eminent cardiologists in Bangalore was very generous enough. तो 3 साल रोज शाम को अपना नॉर्मल काम खत्म करके वो उस कार्डियोलॉजिस्ट के पास जाते थे और 3 साल तक उन्होंने कार्डियोलॉजी पूरी सीखी उससे. So that to understand the kind of depthness and the kind of work which a cardiologist has to do in terms of the patient care, in terms of the analysis of reports and ECRs and all that. So finally, after 2-3 years, he was able to find a gap. और उस प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करने के लिए he started building an entire new set of medical
सर यही
devices. So
अगर
just
डॉक्टर्स
imagine.
करने लग जाएं, आप ये सोचिए अगर डॉक्टर्स खुद ये चीज
हाँ.
करने लग जाएं तो वो जो 3 साल की मेहनत है दैट वुड रिड्यूस डाउन टू नथिंग.
बच जाते थे. हाँ.
तो
या
ये चीज डॉक्टर्स आर एक्चुअली ग्रेट इन देयर माइंडसेट बिकॉज उन लोगों को इतना पढ़ने की आदत हो चुकी है. दे आर इंटेलिजेंट फेलोज. दैट इज व्हाई दे आर गेटिंग इनटू द हेल्थ केयर डोमेन.
yes.
तो ऐसा तो है नहीं कि दे डोंट हैव द माइंडसेट टू डू वर्क और दे कैन नॉट डू. दे हैव सच अ ग्रेट माइंड. So they really can perform or do any kind of work if it is being given to them.
Yes, absolutely. And I think I also started recently. I've been fortunate enough. I started meeting some fantastic doctors who, when they talk about science and less about medicines. So the kind of references they were making, like capillary action होता है, ये scientific process चलता है. So there are doctors who understand कि पीछे में जो science है वो अगर समझ में आ गई, तो I think solving problems like an engineer becomes very easy. A lot of people are my mindset कि यार ये तो engineers का काम है. But I think engineers का काम है, but probably it might be easy for them
नहीं
to do
सर,
it.
जैसे
That
कुछ
is what
डॉक्टर्स
is
जो
my
मशीन
take on
से
this
डील
also.
करते हैं,
So
वेदर
thank you.
एमआरआई मशीन से, सिटी स्कैन है, या जो भी दुनिया की जितनी मशीन से उनसे डील कर रहे हैं, तो दे नो द फिजिक्स ऑफ द मशीन. सो उन लोगों को फिजिक्स तो समझ में आ रहा है. सो दे हैव द
Yes.
अक्यूमेन कि वहां पे
आ रहा
फिजिक्स
है.
कैसे वर्क कर रहा है या उससे मैथ्स कैसे लग रहा है. सो आई फील कि डॉक्टर्स कुछ भी कर सकते हैं चाहे तो.
Yes,
इट इज
yes.
ओनली अबाउट देयर
Absolutely, I agree with you. And
वे.
yeah, I think थोड़ा सा वो उसको शायद नहरों को थोड़ा broad करना पड़ेगा. I'll I'll I would move to that Nihar to comment on this. What's his take on this particular aspect?
So everybody in the middle class or Indian middle class wants stable and secure jobs, and that too a government job. So doctors are no different. So they come from the same society. So anybody studying MBBS, doing his PGs, also after passing out, also he searches for jobs either in the medical college or in any private hospital. So that is the natural tendency of every doctor who is passing out. In fact, I myself, when I passed out, also I didn't think about entrepreneurship and all. So I also did job for 10 years, I think. So I think that's a natural tendency of every doctors to have some kind of stable income from them. So we cannot blame them for that. But having said that, I think the doctors are the one who do extensive study also in their course, and also they do very long duty hours, which are not seen in other professions. So I think they are the main. If they go into entrepreneurships, I think they will be the one who can be successful due to their long working hours and all, and they're also because of their hardworking natures. So that's my take on this, because doctor can be a
Right.
good entrepreneur if they enter into this field.
Sure. Thank you so much, Dr. Nihar. And I think recently we have started, as Lemon Ideas also, we have started exploring this particular gap कि जो medical students हैं या जो medical fraternity के लोग हैं उनका entrepreneurship की तरफ रुझान थोड़ा सा limited है. So we have started working with few medical schools here and trying to understand how probably we can make a difference, because मेरे को लगता है कि बहुत बड़ी opportunity है. and and I think that MBBS student or in PG or in postgraduate medical student, when they pass out, obviously उनके पास employment skills तो बहुत high है. मतलब see, getting a job for a doctor I don't think is a problem at all to be discussed.
Okay.
So employability point of view से तो problem है ही नहीं. But somehow 100% people start talking about employability. That's where I think probably there are people, and I think we have one such person in our Zoom room today, who, in spite of being a doctor, she's very keen कि यार मेरे को ये regular डॉक्टरी का काम नहीं करना है. So I would want to request Satakshi to also open up on this conversation and share what she thinks about it as a medical student. Over to you, Satakshi. Satakshi, are you there? I think probably I'm not sure if she's able to hear us, but yes, I think this I think is an interesting conversation. So taking this forward, I would want to take into the next part of the discussion where the influence and the impact of technology that we see right now. So maybe if we can look at that specific thread, I would want both Vishesh and Dr. Nihar to comment upon this in terms of what they think in terms of the technology impact that we can definitely see. It's happening in terms of the healthcare. So Dr. Vishesh, over to you.
सर बहुत बेसिक चीज है. If the technology is not there, you cannot scale anything up. So if I am talking from my perspective, if technology wouldn't have been there, I wouldn't have been able to reach to these many people which I'm trying to reach it right now. So technology plays the most important part ever. Earlier, when there was no advent of the newer age technologies which are there right now, the availability of healthcare facilities was also not there that much. So this is only because of the technology that everybody, I'm not talking about myself here, but anybody and everybody, even the government is able to reach to each and every people because of the technology. It's WhatsApp, it's so many other medium through which they are actually telling people what they are doing. So if I just talk about the Ayushman Bharat mission or the e-Sanjeevani project, the ABDM, whatever, the new things which are coming up into the world, it is only and only because of the technology. Adding more onto it, artificial intelligence, machine learning, these kind of new age terms which have come into play. I am using my team is working extensively. My tech team is working extensively to bring AI into play so that we can help our doctors to give that direction to them in a much better way. My life is zero without ChatGPT. It has become the most constant part of my life for every. I feel like I have to create presentation. I take the help of ChatGPT. So that is technology. And if I am in a healthcare company, I am using ChatGPT. So I feel like anybody who is into healthcare would be benefited out of it. So technology is the real game changer. So thanks to the people who have actually come up with these kind of tools.
Right. So any specific trends you would want to mention, Vishesh, which are going to probably have a lot of impact in coming years when it comes to technology trends? Any specific thing you would want to mention?
Yeah. So, sir, I'll tell you one example. So we are working on a product which is in an ophthalmology department. So we are trying to create, or I should say we have already created this product, which is a portable slit lamp. So we have already filed a patent for that. It is pending. So this is a mobile friendly device. It could be fitted to any of the mobile phone. It is similar to a traditional conventional slit lamp, which is worth 10 lakh rupees. And we have created a smaller version of it. And it is the technology through which we are actually creating an impact. So through the mobile, it can click a number of pictures. The artificial intelligence is creating the report out of it. It is seeing the traditional results and bringing up a result for the doctors and helping the doctors to understand that this is a probability and this is the thing what is happening to the patient. So this is because of artificial intelligence. It is only about the data. So the amount of data which we have secured earlier. So we are using that data, and through AI, we are trying to help the doctors to create an impact. So
Fantastic.
AI is the most important thing, which is like the biggest game changer in the world. And it is the trending thing right now. And it is like not many things are there in the AI though. So yes, that is there, sir. That's my
So
perspective.
everything is becoming AI enabled or AI supported. Anyway,
Yeah.
I think I'll move to Dr. Nihar on this now. Dr.
So
Nihar,
let me
what's your
say-
take on technology trends?
Yeah, so let me give you an example of how technology impact healthcare. Suppose 30, 40 years back, radiology was a very kind of boring or dead kind of subject. There was only X-rays, nothing else was there. Nobody used to take radiology there. And I think I'm talking about 40 years back. So suddenly there was an emergence of ultrasound machines, CT scan, MRI, inspect, PET-CT, and all those things. So suddenly has become a very interesting subject, and radiology is the for what is sought after specialty in PG admissions. So yeah, radiologists are very much in demand. So that was the trend for the last, I think, 10, 20 years. But now with the emergence of AI, the AI is detecting those CT scan images, the MRI images. So there, the need for radiologists has has reduced, and in the future years, I think the human-based intervention of interpretation of radiology will be very much decreased, and AI will take over. So this, I think this technology is very much impacting all those things. Further, if I can give my example, I think you may know, sir, that we are developing a spirometer, which basically measure lung function test. So this traditionally, whatever the device currently is available in the market, they only give that there's an obstruction or there is a restrictive kind of lung diseases. So they won't give what kind of lung disease it is. So in our device, we are currently using predictive analytic AI to detect whether the obstruction is due to asthma or other disease like chronic obstructive pulmonary disease or any other kind of lung disease. So this give a very insight to the physician who are treating the patients. And I think with this predictive analytic thing, patient will give the disease will be diagnosed very early, and the patient will be symptom of the patient will be controlled to a very large extent.
Sure.
So
I
that's
think yes, yeah, I agree with both of you that I think in past few multiple decades, I think technology has really changed the way healthcare has been working. For example, now uh, the dependency of doctors on the diagnosis reports has gone so high that doctor will not speak to you unless he sees a report in front of them. And when I've been recently when I'm visiting this kind of pathology labs, and I since I'm just curious, मैं थोड़ा सा अंदर ऐसे पीप करके देखता हूँ, किसी से बात करके देखता हूँ, यार ये आप लोग टेस्ट तो amazed to see it's all automated, मतलब नो मैनुअल इंटरवेंशन, कोई भी टेस्ट करना है वो बस वो आपके ब्लड सैंपल की स्लाइड को अंदर डालेगा, पूरी रिपोर्ट बाहर आती है. मैंने कहा यार मतलब सी इट्स सो एंड एंड देन व्हेन आई वाज थिंकिंग in my class 11 आई डिड ए प्रोजेक्ट ऑफ ब्लड टेस्टिंग इन टर्म्स ऑफ होता है ना ब्लड ग्रुप निकालने के लिए. मैंने एक छोटा सा प्रोजेक्ट किया था माई स्कूल डेज, और वो प्रिक करके ब्लड को निकालना, और वो सिंपल सा था फंडा, बट आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड वो इतना बड़ा तो स्कूल में ऐसा माहौल हो गया था कि बाप रे पता नहीं हम कौन सा कोई कोई हम 30 मार्क का काम कर रहे हैं. एंड आई एम टॉकिंग मतलब दिस वाज 90s 1991 की बात कर रहा हूँ. एंड वो प्रिक करके हम लोग ब्लड ग्रुप निकालते थे, और स्कूल में पूरा ऐसा माहौल हो गया था. एंड नाउ व्हेन आई लुक बैक टुडे, आज मैं जाता हूँ, मैंने कहा यार मतलब बेस्ट ऑफ द मेडिकल योर ब्लड टेस्ट आर डन जस्ट इन सेकंड्स. मतलब उनको कुछ करना ही नहीं है. आई डोंट नो द काइंड ऑफ मशीन्स व्हिच आर देयर इन द लैब्स, द काइंड ऑफ मशीन्स व्हिच आर देयर इन दी मतलब जो एक्सरे एंड सीटी स्कैन है, माय गॉड मतलब दिस इज फिनोमिनल इफ आई लुक बैक. मतलब 30-40 ईयर बैक जब मैं जाता था और अब तो सो आई डेफिनेटली सी बहुत कुछ एडवांसमेंट्स हुए हैं in terms of medical devices, instruments, diagnosis machines. और अभी AI is going to be absolutely मतलब मुझे लगता है कि अगर आज कोई हेल्थ केयर प्रोफेशनल डॉक्टर अगर AI से दूर है तो बहुत 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 ज्यादा संकट वाली बात है. क्योंकि AI से दोस्ती करना बहुत आवश्यक है, मानो या ना मानो. मतलब वो जो एक ट्रेंड सोशल मीडिया के साथ आया था कि देयर वाज लॉट ऑफ ifs and buts. There are ifs and buts with AI also, because there is a possibility of the so-called pros भी हैं, but there is a sector where there is a threat also, there is a challenge also. But anyway, the reality is AI is going to change. It will get everywhere in our life. So a lot of things which we think as a human intelligence is going to be replaced by artificial intelligence. And I think you both rightly said data is going to be the game here. जिसके पास data है is going to the king now. So So I think data is going to be the biggest kingmakers going forward.
Sir, I just want to add one thing here. मतलब मैं सिर्फ वो AI का एक chat GPT का एक example ही दे रहा हूँ, just for the audience to understand कि how it has helped the doctors. So most of you would have read this story, which was there in all the newspaper and all the news media across the world, that doctors were trying to find out the diagnosis of a patient with all the symptoms, and they were not able to do that because there was something which they actually missed. So the symptoms, the signs, everything were being put on GPT, and GPT came out with some results, provisional diagnosis, which they actually didn't thought about, and that was the correct diagnosis of that patient. So this is how it could actually help the doctors. Doctors are also humans. We can miss out something, but it is a computer. Computer cannot miss anything. So computer can actually help the doctors to understand and identify some problems which they might miss. So it's a tool which could help rather than eradicating the doctors, but they could actually help the doctors in diagnosing the stuff. And there are many more things which it could help it out.
Yeah, I think anyone from the participant in the Zoom room would want to comment, contribute. I'll just take a pause here before I move to the next part of the conversation. Anyone in the Zoom room, or maybe if you have indicated some questions to Simran also, that should also be fine. Simran, if you have any questions on behalf of audience, you can also comment upon it. So I'll just take a pause if there are any comments from the audience here in terms of the conversation which we are doing. Dr. Sahu, Jairam, Shakshi, Mr. Venkatesh, I know you're from education startup background, but still, if you have any comments to make on this.
Hello,
Yeah, Dr. Sahu.
I'm Dr. Sahu from Odisha. Good to be here, actually listening to two doctors speaking on the trends of healthcare and all. I would like to share two cents from my side also. Going back to the first discussion that we had regarding doctors being less willing to go into entrepreneurship. So one thing I also feel, in addition to what was discussed, is the employability and the skills. In one sentence, you also mentioned that, touched upon that, but that is, I think, one of the most important factor that is preventing doctors from going to entrepreneurship is the employability. So doctors, I think, means medical profession is, I think, the most important profession that ensures employability. You never go out of job. Unless you go out of job, you will not think of anything else, right? So going back, in every profession, there comes a time of saturation. So engineers, for example, engineers. So engineering is a coveted profession, but still there is a saturation. Engineers become engineers, and then again there is huge unemployability. So they think of doing something else. So they go for MBA, they do management, and then entrepreneurship naturally comes to them. So unless a profession unless there is unemployability, there is no scope of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is something people think of when they are out of job. That is number one. And number two is skills. As I already mentioned, it is natural tendency of engineers to go into MBA, but doctors will not go for MBA. And if we think of entrepreneurship, management is the backbone, and technology is the backbone. So these are the two skills that is the backbone of entrepreneurship. So unless and until you go into management and engineering, some understanding of these two skills, you cannot think of entrepreneurship at all. This is my take on this. And the second discussion that we are having is the trends. I think there is another trend that is catching up is, as it was already being discussed, like interpretation of the details by the doctors. So for diagnosis. So usually, traditionally, the things that were being used for diagnosis like blood and radiology and all. But another thing that is catching on very fast is biomarkers. So biomarkers, it is not today. It is not only the blood that is being tested for diagnosis. If I discuss of something very recent, then even we can diagnose diseases on the basis of voice. You can just using AI. So you can just record my voice, and through this voice only, the AI can predict what all disease I may have or I might have in the future. So this is very important. So earlier, no one thought of diagnosing disease with voice. So like this is only one example of many hundreds of things that are being explored day by day. So biomarkers, I think will catch up very fast, and we should not limit ourselves to only blood, stool, and urine for disease diagnosis. There are many things that is in our body that can help us in diagnosis disease. This is another thing. One more thing I would like to touch upon is again going back to the previous discussion, that is the doctors not being able to come into entrepreneurship. So platforms are also required. As I discussed, skills, due to lack of skills only, they don't think of entrepreneurship. I think even the policy makers or the government also should think of bridging the skill gap for doctors to come into entrepreneurship. So I had been a participant of a program in IIT Hyderabad. There is entrepreneurship incubation center called CFHE, Center for Healthcare Entrepreneurship. So there what we did is we were taught about biodesign methodology, that is from Stanford. So what we did is that program is for doctors, engineers, designers, researchers. So people from diverse background, they come for that program into Center for Healthcare Entrepreneurship. And what we did is that was a program for medical device innovation. Come up with the new medical device, leveraging all the expertises that you have in the team. So that kind of platforms should come up. That is very rare. Like in India, you will find only maybe not more than 10. That 10 is also, I am being very I'm not being conservative in telling that. So hundreds of centers should come like CFHE that could promote departmental connections in and various diverse skill set should come together to venture into entrepreneurship. That's what.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Sahu, and you can count Lemon also as one of those stupid initiatives who are trying to passionately do this from last 10, 11 years, and we would want to see a lot of doctors becoming entrepreneurs very, very soon. Thank you so much for your suggestions, and I think 2-3 things which I could very quickly make out from what Dr. Sahu said. One is, I think probably a few doctors should go for MBA and not for the medical PG courses to become entrepreneurs. So that's one thing which I'm sure needs to be encouraged, or maybe a new program which can merge the technical medical field and the management together. So it could be a techno-managerial postgraduate program for medical doctors that could definitely make a lot of difference. I think diversity is something which he touched upon. I'm absolutely a big fan of diversity, and I think the magic can only happen when there are diverse people together. There's no magic without diversity. So I definitely agree on that. And the third point you said, biomarkers. Yes, I think I keep hearing this word from a lot of medical doctors these days whenever I'm into such kind of conversation. So I definitely take a note of that also. So I'll move to Mr. Venkatesh if he would want to very quickly add to this conversation. Yeah, Mr. Venkatesh.
Hi, good morning. Forgive my attire. This is my Sunday casual attire. I forgot to change into something a bit more formal. One thing I would like to touch upon is, I think it was earlier in the discussion today, either it was you, Deepak ji, or somebody else, you hinted at mental health. right?
Yes.
Especially among youngsters. So it just took me back to this conversation I was having with a private university in the NCR, where they said, give us, because I was giving them a demo of our chatbot, the personal growth soft skill chatbot. So they wanted me to create something similar in the mental health space, and I plain and simple refused. I said technically it's doable, but realistically, I don't think it is wise, because clinical health is something I have a lot of respect for, because I've seen it work for somebody in the family who was on medication for 30 years. So I know clinical health is very critical, whether it's through medicines or counseling or whatever. And that is something I don't want people to use AI for. I gave them a very simple example where somebody tells the AI, I'm very stressed, I'm very anxious, I'm very afraid. What should I do now? And the AI says, sit down and take a deep breath, calm yourself. Now, we don't know the context of the individual. He could be chased by a bunch of street dogs, rabid dogs on the street. He could be chased by a thief with a knife. We don't know the context. So if the AI tells sit down and take a deep breath, kaani khatam ho gayi. So I gave them this example and I said, AI you should not use for conversational AI. Don't use it for extreme therapy cases. It is very, very risky, extremely risky. But at the same time, I said we can use technology. If you step away from AI for a second, we can use technology for somebody who needs that kind of an emergency help to quickly talk to somebody completely anonymously. So I get onto a platform, I'm totally anonymous, and I talk on video, audio
Yes,
with
yes.
with a clinical psychologist on the other end, and that is something they're interested in. So we're going to see how we can build quickly a solution on that. So something I just wanted to share with you,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of talk of AI and therapy, etc.
Yeah, I think thank you so much. I think Venkatesh, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. The ethical or the cautious use of AI is definitely there on the discussion table. Whenever we talk about AI, there has to be a parallel discussion on the right use of AI also. So I think what you made is absolutely correct. So I now would want to quickly move to the last part of the conversation. Maybe we'll take few minutes more. It's already 11 o'clock now. So uh, I would want my co-host to very quickly comment upon the the kind of possibilities which they see in the Indian context in terms of healthcare का जो एक डोमेन है. अगर अगर एक किसी स्टार्टअप फाउंडर को या एक किसी एंटरप्रेन्योर को अगर हेल्थ केयर में कुछ काम करना है इंडियन कॉन्टेक्स्ट में, so what are those opportunity spots which they think very quickly, if you can summarize in just 1 or 2 minutes, I think that can really help our audience whenever they really view this video in future. So a quick opportunity spots for healthcare, for startups in the Indian context. Over to you, Dr. Nihar.
Thank you, sir. So I think AI is definitely will rise in the future. So in the Indian context, I think the integration of AI and our Ayurvedic medicine, I think that can go a lot. We need to research upon this. And I think with proper research, we can definitely find the treatment of many diseases or management of many diseases. And in the future, I see expansion of telemedicine. Though the use of telemedicine has come down after COVID, it has come down, but it will be in future, it will be very much greatly increase. Thirdly, I am seeing some kind of new technology coming up, like nanotechnology or or remote. We ourselves are exploring the option of telemedicine and remote patient monitoring. So we have built up a platform on this so that our patient on the platform can be monitored remotely. Secondly, and lastly, I will think blockchain technology will come up in a big way for this the patient data, privacy of the patient data, so that the data health records of the patient are secured. I think this and VR, AR, and
Sure.
genomics are there, which will play a big role in the
Sure.
future in AI.
Sure. Thank you.
So
So I'll
that's
quickly
from
summarize AI, application of AI, augmented reality, virtual reality in terms of its applications. Ayurveda and alternative therapies are absolutely on the rise. India brings a lot of rich historical uh, tradition and culture when it comes to alternative healing and alternative therapy. So that's definitely there. So I think and what you said, telemedicine and the use of blockchain. So I think this go hand in hand to me. So like effectively, yes, this is what you probably summarize. So over to you, Dr. Vishesh, in terms of the spots that startups can look forward in future.
Sir, I'll conclude very fast. So my thought is that healthcare is one place where each and everything has a scope. Each and every branch has a scope. Whether it is nursing, it is ophthalmology, it is cardiology, it is neurology, it is nephrology, whatever it is, there is a lot of opportunities available where where the startups founders can actually work upon. They just have to dig down. They have to search out the problems. Every department has enormous and lot of problems. If they can work upon them, they could actually build up a huge and a beautiful business out of it. The technologies which sir mentioned, these could be utilized in these departments, and they can build up a fabulous product out of it. So whether it is a supply chain, it is departmental, it is nursing assistant, it is hospitalization, it is ambulance service, it is anything and everything which is there associated with the healthcare industry, everything has a business opportunity. Yes.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So I think everything has a business opportunity is the major tagline that comes out of this conversation. So all those healthcare professionals will be watching this video. I think I just want to emphasize again, more the problems, more the gaps, more the opportunities for people like us to look at the potential solutions, potential innovations, and to really make an impact in the people's lives in terms of healthy and joyful life. So I think with this, I'll quickly end this conversation and would want to pass it on to my teammate Simran to take it forward. Over to you, Simran. And once again, thank you everyone. Thank you, Vishesh. Thank you, Niyarji, for your
Just
contribution and
sir, before
valuable
completing,
presence on this fine Sunday morning.
sir, can I add just one point regarding
Yes, yes.
why doctors don't become entrepreneur? I think one of the main factor is the age. By an engineer graduate at the age of 21 or 22 max. A doctor will graduate at the age of 30. So I think age, and by that time the family responsibilities come up and all those things. So an engineer can easily start a startup. They can take the risk at 81 or 22, but the doctor at 30 cannot take that risk. So I think because of that also many doctors don't become entrepreneurs.
इसीलिए I think for techno managerial PG program might be a problem, might be a solution here. So anyway, I think thank you all for your wonderful contribution, and I'll request my teammate Simran to take it forward. Over to you, Simran.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Everyone, this is the schedule of our upcoming Gupshup sessions. Like this session, if you find any value addition to your knowledge, to your personality, you can join our future Gupshup sessions as well. You can take a screenshot. It will be useful. We also regularly post on our WhatsApp channel. You can join our Lemon community by scanning this QR code. Our Innopreneur Season 11 is also live. If you want to register for your startup idea, you can register by visiting our website, which is innopreneurs.in/startup contest. If you know anyone else who is into startups or idea or who can benefit from this Innopreneur Season 11, you can also tell them about it and help us spread the word. If you have any more suggestions for future Gupshup sessions, you want a Gupshup session on a particular sector, on a particular topic, you can drop in your comments in the chat box.